And welcome back to Growing with Ilona. I'm Jason Mann, not Nikki Check. Ilona, you've been away for some time, and so this is a bit of a catch-up episode to check in on this tower that you and, well, Nikki, for the most part, has been tending to.
Yes.
But you were gone for about a month, right?
Yeah.
To Hungary?
Yes.
Yeah,
Went to
wow.
Hungary. Yes.
That's a whole nother episode, but glad to have you back.
Thank you. Thank you.
This was on fuego. I mean, like, it just blossomed with cucumbers all over the place, tons of lettuce and basil, and I mean, there's some hot spots that we maybe want to kind of touch base on and talk about. Unfortunately, while you were gone, it was summer holidays, people were coming and going. Nikki was extraordinarily busy, and I don't think it got quite the love it, maybe could have got or should have got. But boy, it was probably like about a week after you left, and cucumbers started popping, and about another week after that, it was like, how are we going to eat all these cucumbers? So what do you think? When you've come back now, what do you see? What do you think? How's Nikki down here?
I had a little bit of background about what happened with this tower. Number one, we talked about harvesting, and not a lot of harvesting got done. And the reason I can tell, these guys didn't eat a lot of greens, is there are some plants that have sprouted now, which
like
means bolted, sprouted.
Yeah.
So that needs attention. It needs to be harvested. So today we're going to harvest the tower, and I'm going to send them all home with some greens. The other thing I noticed that, yes, there's no weeding with the tower garden. There's no soil. There's no dirt. But there are some leaves that are dry, right? So really, that's all I have to do is just pick them off. So this is like an example, just kind of picking it off and then disposing of these. Another thing I noticed is beautiful cucumbers, which I think you can see right here. The mini me cucumbers is some of the leaves are so big that they are taking up the space or the light from the plants behind.
Right.
So the tomato plant is hardly getting any light. So all I'm going to do after this episode is just kind of take off some of the leaves, right? I'm just
So a
going to
bit of pruning, take off some of the bigger leaves so the light can get in.
And really just eat off of it, because the more you eat off of it, the more it also regrows. So so that's kind of what I'm noticing, and I'll give you a little bit of background on what Nikki told me happened. Is she was doing really good with filling it up, and then there was a day that she was thinking, I'll come in on Saturday and do it, and she forgot. And so she came in and everything was wilted, like it was all hanging over, everything was dry, and she was like, no way, I killed this thing. Thankfully, she filled it up with water and kept turning the water on and on to come off even more than usual. And look, they all came back.
Totally.
So I totally thought she would have killed the whole thing, but she didn't.
And you should have seen it literally 2 weeks ago. This thing was absolutely beautiful.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they did, have a little bit of an issue with no water for a day or so, but they came back, which is amazing. And there's lots of food to be harvested for sure.
And the number of cucumbers this thing has produced is truly extraordinary. So that's really it then.
You guys should have just been eating more greens. And I know that you were asking me, you said, I was going to take some lettuce home, but I didn't know when I could harvest it. So really, like this one here.
And where to cut from and how much exactly.
Things. Yeah. Yes. So really, you just want to take the leaves off.
Okay.
Right? Just all the leaves. And then what happens when you do that, more and more will produce.
Right off this shoot even.
Right off that shoot.
Yeah.
It probably wouldn't have gotten that big if we would have harvested it next time. You'll know. And the thing with lettuce, when you know that it's done, is when it becomes bitter. Then you got to pull the whole plant.
Right.
So it can regenerate a few times, sometimes even 3 times, depending on the lettuce. And then you need to just pull it and replant.
Okay, so I'm just going to take a little segment
take
right
a piece
now
and try it. And if it's not bitter, then we can definitely trim it back.
No, still good.
It's good, great. Okay, while you eat over there. No, just kidding. Well, just kidding. And yeah, there's definitely a lot of plants that are hiding in behind that I'll just prune it up, and then you'll get to see that. Then the light can actually reach the plants in the back.
Now it looks to me like we might have, this basil here may come back, but if we needed to or wanted to, we've even got some empty vacant spots here. At this stage with so much produce, can we plant or replant some of these empty spots?
100%. Yeah, this tower holds 32 plants, so there's definitely lots of room, and it's good to have on rotation sometimes, right? Where when they get kind of big, you already have another one kind of growing to be able to pop in there, so you constantly have greens to eat.
Well, I was going to say, I mean, there were so many cucumbers here. And the water is going to kick on.
Yeah.
that I'm not so sure we've been able to eat them all at the same time as a family anyway. So
Yeah.
it might be good to have certain things at certain stages of growth, right?
Exactly. Yeah, and even with cucumbers, I mean, you can assume approximate growing time, but you don't know how many are going to come at the same time. Like this guy's tiny, where at the same time this guy's big, right? So it just depends on the stages. But I mean, you can't go wrong with mini-me cucumbers.
No.
You could eat a bunch of them all at once.
And if you've got 3 kids like I do,
Yeah,
then they eat a lot of stuff.
They're going to be gone.
Yeah.
Yes. So that's kind of the update that I can think of. So really, all I asked Nikki to do was to fill up the water, which you just open the reservoir.
Yeah.
And there's even a little guide here that tells you how much is water in here. So fill up the water, add the nutrients, and check the pH, and eat off of it.
And how often would the nutrients be added? Just
every time you fill it up with water.
Yeah, okay.
And Nikki was mentioning to me, it was taking up a lot of water because when the plants get bigger, they need more water.
Yeah.
So I would say at this stage, check it every week. So just put it in the calendar, like today's Tuesday, next Tuesday, check the water, add the nutrients, and then you're good to go.
Yeah, because I think
really low
the
maintenance.
first month it didn't require any new water. It
No.
just did its thing, right? But then as the plants grow,
they
it
need
wasn't
more.
evaporating so much. It was drinking it.
They need more, exactly. If it's outside, it would evaporate, but in here, no, it's just that they need more.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's September. It's the fall harvest season.
Yeah.
As we take some of the stuff off this tower and we look to replant, is there anything that we should be thinking about in terms of replanting in the fall, where we put it in the house, or what types of things we replant? Are there any considerations?
Yeah, really, like for instance here, we're going to keep it in the same spot, most likely. But when it's in your home, some people put theirs outside in the summer, which is what I do, and then I clean it out and I bring it inside for the winter. The cool thing about these towers, it doesn't have to have a window. It doesn't have to have sunshine.
Right, it's built
which
in.
is, Kelowna, we don't get a lot of sunshine in the winter. So these LED lights, really, you could put it in a basement.
And they generate a bit of warmth too, don't they?
Yeah, they do. Yeah, and I think that's why your cucumbers are doing so well, because it's warm in here. My house is kind of cooler, so they don't really like my house. Cucumbers love heat.
Right.
So it's nice when it's a little bit warmer for cucumbers and tomatoes and peppers.
Right. See, and I've done a bit of this at home myself, and it was in the basement, and I found in the winter, and it was just too cold.
Too cold, yeah. The plants that like cold, if you do want to continue in the winter indoors, are your kale, your leafy greens, and your herbs. Not so much the hot, like the tomato and the cucumbers and the peppers. Those do not like it cold.
Yeah.
But everything else likes it cold. So you could do herbs and stuff. And then you were asking about planting for the fall and winter. The cool thing is now all the gardens outside, it's time to pretty much harvest most of the stuff. So what a perfect way to continue growing all fall, winter, and even spring with the tower garden. So that's definitely my recommendation, is get one and feed your family fresh produce all winter long, because we won't have access to it.
Yeah, and I mean, I will try and find a way to do it with cucumbers myself. In fact, I got to find a better spot in the house, because have you seen the price of a cucumber these days?
Yeah, I know. It's,
Never mind a T-bone.
Yeah. Well, I can't help you with that. But, but the cucumbers, yes. Yeah. So definitely, if you can keep it growing all winter long, it will be helpful.
Okay,
Save
so
some money.
Nikki didn't do a very good job. Sorry, I'm throwing you under the bus. And it's only because she's been so busy, and I know you're just running around and forgetting on that Saturday, etc. But like legitimately, like how much time does this take to maintain in a week, would you say?
I would say like 10 minutes a week. Just fill up the water, add the nutrients, check your pH, and then harvest off of it on a daily basis. Because the more you eat off of it, the more it continues to grow. I find when it's in your house, you tend to eat these things. Like let's say we made an omelet today. You're like, okay, what can we harvest off the tower? We would add probably kale into our omelet. We could add some arugula to spice it up. We could even add some basil. What else do we have growing? We have parsley growing, right? We could chop that all in. But if we didn't have this tower, we would probably do cheese, egg, what else? Maybe a pepper if you have at home. And that's it.
And soon we'll have peppers here, it looks like.
You will. Yeah, there's a couple of peppers. We just got to get to them. But, you know, when you have all this, you tend to eat more of it. And you get creative. Like if we make pizza, you can put the arugula on it. You can add some kale again. Even the parsley, sprinkle it on top. So it's a great way to increase your leafy greens.
If you have a big kitchen, I mean, this really makes a stunning showstopper of a feature piece in the house.
Yes.
And it would be close to all the action in terms of cooking, and you could just pick things off.
Pick what you need, and it'll keep growing.
That would be ideal. And a lot of kitchens are usually bright and sunny too. So
yeah. Yeah, so definitely if you guys are interested in getting one, you can definitely reach out on our
the form.
On the form, yeah, underneath, and then I can get in touch with you and get you started for the winter.
All right.
Yeah.
So anything else you want to cover on this episode?
I think that's it. I'm gonna go to town and clean it up a little bit and give you guys lots of greens.
And some lessons.
And some lessons. Yes,
all right.
definitely.
Growing with Ilona. I'm Jason for Nikki on this episode. Thanking you for joining us. And again, yes, if you're interested in tower gardens and growing your own food sustainably in your own home, check out the form below. It's a great deal. It's something also, I think, for any family, if you've got kids, to be able to see nature at work. It's just one of those special things that you can do for them as well. Not to mention the nutrients and everything else, and save some money on the long tail with the grocery bill. So, all right. Well, thanks again for joining us, and we'll talk to you again.
Yeah. Bye.